All right, let's get to the shout out.
Shout out, shout out, shout out.
My brain is still in recovery mode.
Shout out,
Shout out, shout out.
My brain is still in recovery mode
shout out,
can't
shout
be
out.
from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
Shout out, shout
From
out.
taking in so many high-level important ideas. The dial of ideas.
I like talking about ideas.
High-level,
The exchange of ideas.
Shout out, shout out.
high-level. Still in recovery mode.
Looking forward to sharing more ideas.
Oh, as expected, Bernie Sanders has put out the most bold, innovative, left and humane immigration plan. And we will have some words from one of his prime competitors on her thoughts on this in the post game. Now, again, this is really important because Bernie threaded a needle between two competing sets of demands. There's one set of demands that does essentially say we can keep this issue on the back burner and we can continue to some way in shape or form dehumanize a terrorized community through particularly the Trump administration, but the entirety of the American immigration system as a whole on a bipartisan basis. Then there were people who elevated frankly, a utopian rhetoric over the political demands and realities of actually winning a presidential campaign, and at times confused rhetorical and stylistic demands with serious and necessary humane policy aims. And Bernie synthesized and transcended both problems. This is profoundly bold and necessary. What he's doing is demilitarizing the border. That's essential. That's basic human rights. That's basic human decency. Most people still want to have borders and live in nation states. That is absolutely the world as it is. We're not going to contest that. That's the bad frame. But a very important frame is we are going to demilitarize the border. We are going to have a humane border. We are not going to savage and terrorize human beings. We are going to uphold our obligations under international law. He is doing all of the things that all of them have committed to that are important, such as citizenship for DACA and so on. This is important, but this is standard. However, what he does that's more is actually dismantle ICE and actually dismantle the CPB. No other candidate has put that on the table. And this is an essential, not reform, but dismantling. These are fundamentally parasitic, racist, terrorist organizations in their center, in their core. They can't be reformed. They have to go. He also talks about dismantling the entire new deportation and center and detention. I would obviously say concentration camps, reuniting families. Then there's a specific section on refugees dealing with the climate crisis. That's an acknowledgement of new global realities. Worker and labor protections for those inside the immigration system, vital and connected. Putting the real enemy at the front of the page, which is, of course, capital, not worker to worker. And then also actual whistleblower protections for workers exposing abuses, even if they are undocumented. This is a profoundly powerful step in the right direction. As all these other people, Bernie's cast some bad votes, made some mistakes. In his case, it reflects the fact, I'm sorry, we'll be real, the guy can't hold on his shoulders the entirety of resisting every single prevailing political custom for decades. Okay? Yes, he's made some mistakes. He also, and I think we need to be increasingly real about this, is frankly a remarkable political figure and is an absolutely unique proposition to being elected president. And if you're remotely serious about a left agenda, there's obviously look, the time has been to stop fucking around for a while, but I think this really underlines it. Then, in addition to that, of course, he's also talking about all sorts of other, basic areas for DACA families and so on. So this is, and importantly in this, he has a specific section where he talks about U.S. foreign policy and destabilization in Latin America and the hemisphere. So this is an integrated plan. It synthesizes so-called immigration reform with foreign policy, with labor, with wages, and with a whole broader set of protections and climate. That's how you do it. Bernie Sanders, as always, keeps bringing it. Let's be real. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.